Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever walked into a church and felt out of place? Maybe you're used to classic hymns, and the band on stage is playing with electric guitars and a drum kit. Or maybe you grew up with contemporary worship, and the traditional organ music feels more like a funeral than a celebration. This isn't just about music taste. It's a conflict that runs deep in the church. We call them the worship wars, and at the heart of them is a simple but profound question. Is my way of worshiping the right way? And is God more pleased with one style over another? This issue gets to the core of what we believe worship truly is. Is it about what we get out of it? The feeling? The experience? The style that resonates with us? Or is it about something else entirely? Today, we're not going to pick a side in the worship wars. We're going to step back and ask a more fundamental question. What does the Bible say about what a worshipful heart looks like? We'll uncover the liberating truth that true worship isn't about a performance we put on for God, but a posture of the heart that brings God glory. This is a conversation that can set us free from judgment, comparison, and the pressure to feel a certain way. Let's get into it. The biggest misconception about worship today is that it is primarily an emotional experience. We often equate worship with the feeling we get when a certain song plays. We say, "That was an amazing time of worship." And what we really mean is, "I felt a strong emotional connection during that song." Now, our emotions are a part of worship, and a powerful part at that. But when emotions become the goal of worship, we run into some serious problems. It makes worship about us. When we're chasing a feeling, the focus shifts from glorifying God to gratifying ourselves. Worship becomes about our preferences, our style, and our comfort. It creates an unstable faith. If your faith is dependent on an emotional high, what happens in a dry season? What happens when the music doesn't move you, or the lyrics don't resonate? Your faith will feel weak and fragile because it's built on a fleeting feeling, not on an eternal truth. It can also lead to spiritual pride. We can begin to judge others who don't worship the way we do. We might think, that person over there isn't really worshiping because they aren't raising their hands or crying or singing as loudly as we are. We're looking at external actions, but God is looking at the heart. So, if worship isn't just a feeling, what is it? The Bible's picture of worship is far more comprehensive and compelling than just singing songs on a Sunday morning. It's an all-encompassing, whole life response to who God is. Jesus said in John 4:23-24, "The true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth." Worship in spirit means a heart connection, a supernatural act enabled by the Holy Spirit. It's an internal reality, not just an external action. Worship in truth means our worship must be centered on the truth of who God is, as revealed in His Word, not imagination, preferences, or tradition. This is the ultimate answer to the worship wars. The style can be different, but the substance worshiping God with a spirit-led heart that is grounded in His truth must be the same. Paul also writes in Romans 12:1, "The true worship is offering our bodies as a living sacrifice." Notice what he calls true and proper worship. It's not a song. It's our entire life. It's our work, our relationships, our integrity, our kindness. Every single moment of our lives, when lived for the glory of God, can be an act of worship. It's a daily choice to put God's will above our own. The Bible also calls worship a sacrifice of praise. In Hebrews 13:15, we read, "Through Jesus, Let us continually offer to God a sacrifice of praise, the fruit of lips that openly profess His name. This is the songs we sing, the words we speak, and the way we declare His goodness. So, how do we stop treating worship as a performance and start embracing it as a true posture of the heart? First, prioritize God's presence over your preferences. When you come to worship, your goal shouldn't be to find a style you like, but to encounter God and give Him glory.
Second, realize your whole life is your worship. Don't think of worship as something that happens only for an hour on Sunday morning. Your worship begins when you wake up. It's in the way you treat your family, the way you work with integrity, and the way you live with humility and gratitude. Third, worship with humility and honesty. Don't pretend to be someone you're not. God doesn't need you to put on a show. Come to Him with your doubts, your fears, your struggles, and your gratitude. The most powerful worship is often the most honest and vulnerable. The worship wars will continue as long as we focus on what we prefer instead of who we're praising. But for the true worshiper, the style is secondary to the substance. The ultimate truth is this: worship is a spirit-led, truth-filled, whole-life response to an unchangeable God. It's a living sacrifice that we offer every single day, not just on the day of worship. So, what's one way you can make your whole life an act of worship this week? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build a community committed to living a life of true worship. If this message brought you clarity or conviction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content on living a Christ-like life, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and remember, worship is a life lived for an audience of one.